Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We are about to find out what a hard deadline does to a relatively ambitious design and build. No, microphone is off. Microphone is on. The first thing that's going to change is I'm not going to spend half a day making a fancy intro. Maybe a little fun music. No recap for you people either. If you're new, Lionel model train from kitchen to dining room table delivering drinks. I'm lucky enough to spend half the year in San Francisco, half the year in northern Maine restoring an old camp. Whole other story. What relates is that I leave for Maine in, we already counted this, 8 days, 7 days? I need to finish this film in 5 days. I want to have a functioning train by Friday. I'm tackling the control panel, transformer, and control panel to turn on and off lights in the Lionel accessories. I've torn a hole in my kitchen wall. That's going to go in there. Need to make a panel to clean it up. Need to install this, wire up lights. That's all for now. Getting tools. I'm a liar. I did not go get tools. I edited all footage to date. The intro is completely done. The sound is horrible. There's horrific rolling shutter artifacts because I didn't turn off the cheap LED light in the kitchen. And I just cut in that bit that we just filmed. Apparently we're going to work sequentially to an extreme this week. One potential outcome from extremely compressed schedules, migraines. I'm administering caffeine. Feeling better. And it's 2:05. Filmmaking has been winning the race against building so far on day one. I shot and edited a membership blurb for later in this little story. Cutting this out cleanly won't be the easiest thing in the world. I'll make a rough, or as close as I can make it cut on the bandsaw, and then clean it up with this Dremel bit. For all I know, this is a common bit that you can easily find. My version of the story around this bit is that way back, maybe on Star Wars Episode 1, Kevin Wallace, the ILM model shop, I don't know what his title was, he made the place run. We'll leave it at that. He came into the shop one day with a collection of these and handed them out, one to each person, saying, "You only get one, make it last." And they are fairly magic. It's hollow in the middle with a series of very sharp blades, and it has the rare quality of being able to remove material from styrene, from plastic, without melting the styrene. We'll put that to use. And to be clear, this is my original bit. So Kevin Wallace, I did what you asked. 28 years and counting? ode to lovers of Lionel trains, Neil Young and the ghost of Frank Sinatra. Specifically, I know it's a little painful to watch me modifying, kind word for what I'm doing to these, modifying these old Lionel bits and pieces. Pains me a bit too, especially this one, because it is a lovely thing. And I might not do it at all if these weren't so readily available online. Apparently there's still a large stock of these looking for homes at not astounding prices. So, with that said, let's proceed with surgery. I've got rough edit of everything done today. Does everything done today extrapolate into a finished train by Friday? I'm not sure about that math, but that is certainly enough for Monday. And just like that, it's Tuesday. I think it's finalize control station and run some wires day. Last week at some point when no one was watching, I installed a power source about 4 feet away in the china cabinet, and I created a route for wiring to make it here. So clean this up and get all the required wiring from this point to that point. Yeah. Phil Makes Things. He has a nice little channel on the YouTube. You should check him out. He just asked me on some forum somewhere whether I ever suffer from mission creep. Well, Phil, when I painted this trim, I couldn't find the original kitchen trim. This is my current favorite trim. I thought, well, I should just use that. They don't match at all, and now I have to paint the whole room. Not right now. I should also start running wires, but boy, I don't feel like it. I think partly because this is all installed and it's pretty and I'd have to tear it out and make a mess again. So I'm going to employ another trick for keeping a project going on deadline, which is to open multiple fronts in the battle. Let's start a new project. I think I've said it before, but in this case, really the last thing I need to build and customize for this train is the car that will carry things from the kitchen, like cocktail glasses. I've been putting it off partly because I fear it's going to be tricky. I have wonderful things to work with, a car with a searchlight on it, and I'm hoping to use them to light our glasses The first thing I want to sort is to figure out how long this car can be while still turning and operating in a smooth way on an O-scale track. So I'm going to put together my curve and do some wheelbase testing. An issue will be our clearance. Coming around a corner, that point would reach beyond my 4-inch track bed. I'm going to proceed as if that won't be a problem. I just had the fairly horrible experience of taking apart another mechanism, and by removing one screw and pulling a little bit, all of this fell out. It's a yard sale of mechanical bits and pieces. I'm not even convinced what this did. I don't know, but that is a wonderful bit of mechanics for a toy train. I will give it its own cup. Here is the large Lionel flatbed deconstructed. I've moved on to this O-gauge unit, and I'm happy to report that it has really nice heavy-duty, are these called trucks? I want to call those trucks. To be safe, I'll call them wheels. It would be madness not to use these. Whoa! That came apart. A really quick word from the capitalist machine portion of this operation. Two things. Memberships. Memberships to this channel get you a handful of new and different ways to access the goings-on in the studio. Largely, about every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I've started making long-form films that are essentially a full day in the studio, chopped down to an hour, where I answer questions and do my work. Brandon Kalick. Secondly, the Cinodrome company store. The limited edition run of t-shirts was decimated in the first week. Thank you all very much. There are still hand-screened t-shirts from Babylon Burning available, and infinite numbers of the less expensive heat press versions of the t-shirt. Cinecombs, get yours today. Big thanks to members one and all, with a special chalkboard of fame thanks to these good folks. It's video editing morning. wiring this afternoon. Electrical. This upper panel is going to turn all the lighting on and off. And if you're in this room and want to know if the lights are on or off in the other room, that indicator light will tell you. All of that's a ton of fun and I would love to do it, but I'm going to stick to the original mission statement and try to get a train rolling. Therefore, wiring up the transformer. Thursday, the last day to get any real building done, practically speaking. And now that I have a train that actually functions from this space in here you can't see into the kitchen, boy, would I love to see a train that can make it all the way out to the dining room table. Straightforward through the china cabinet, less straightforward getting power out to the end of this line via a bridge that connects and disconnects. We can hope. We can dream. Working left to right, everything is buttoned up down to the curve. I've been working on the bridge. I can't get power to bridge that connection when the bridge is closed. I am not surprised. So I have run wires to the middle of the bridge. I will snake them down the bridge and find a pivot point where the wires can make the journey. In order to get power to the trestle on the table, I'll have to splice onto those wires and then design some sort of a connection to bridge that gap. More good news is that by cutting that channel into the deck and cutting that relatively minor slice of the bridge, our bar cart, so named, has clearance all the way around the bend onto the bridge. After several hours of really fussy wiring work, I have power going to the bridge. And I have power lines running out to the end of the bridge. Next step will be to design some sort of a connection to bring that power onto the trestle. All well and good, but it's... Good morning. I have some test wiring out to the trestle, testing soon to come. But first, back to where we started. What have I learned about the impacts of a deadline on a build? I've learned, quite unexpectedly, that for the past 2 years, I have been far too rigid in my thinking around storytelling. When I started doing this a couple years ago, not the train, filmmaking about designs, builds, process, I wanted to share something that's important to me, but is hard to describe in words. I give my buddy Adam Savage credit for coining the term transcendental moment. What that is the feeling that comes at the end of a creative exercise, creative process, when something new has been born. It's likely a ferocious dopamine hit. I wanted to share that experience, and my films have always ended with beautiful shots of a finished thing over beautiful music. Well, right in the middle of my inability to finish this project yesterday, I happened to be listening to the Making It podcast, recommend, and Jimmy DiResta happened to comment on this exact thing, or at least I made it about this exact thing. He said that these stories don't have to be about a finished object. They can be about progress. Paraphrasing, this thing was one way, now it's this way. And I immediately realized that in the process of designing, the process of making, transcendental moments don't just happen at the end, they happen throughout. It's what keeps us going. It's what helps keep us in a flow state. And they come from progress. My films can be about the progress I make in a week. Thank you, Jimmy DiResta. And progress. Let us celebrate with some coffee. So I would love to enjoy this cup of coffee at the dining room table in the sun, but it's such a long way to carry a cup of coffee. I will see you people in Maine.